a man ever says, I want to eat you, let me tell you what you should do.
Police! Police! Help! Police! Help! Police! Help!
I'm running all the way to Togo if I have to. I'll run to Senegal on my bare foot. I won't stop until I see civilization. I'm not the one to kick a man if he's already down. But in this case, I will kick you down. Every day, we come on the internet and we see several tweets. 90% of which says, men are wicked. The heart of man is desperately wicked. But do we actually understand the full extent of how wicked people can be? Today we're going to be talking about this movie called Fresh. Yes, fresh, as in pose tight, pose clean, pose fresh. So my friends and I were doing movie nights, and one of my friends that is actually a sick individual, Miriam decided that it was a good idea for us to watch Fresh. Thankfully, it wasn't one of those movie nights where we were actually eating while watching, because I watched this movie and it fucked up my life. Like any normal person, I decided to watch it again and again, and then I decided to make a video about this movie called Fresh. This movie is a thriller. It's got grotesque at some point, so you have to be prepared for that. Trigger warning, there is blood, there is nastiness, and even worse, there is loud, excessive chewing. Guys, I can't stand when people chew loudly. If you're just that type of person, just tattoo it on your forehead so I can avoid you. Anyways, for the theme of the movie, I guess it was on brand. Alright, so the movie is basically about this girl. In the first scene of the movie, we see the main character. Her name is Noah, and she's sitting in the car, apparently waiting for a date, and just swiping through profiles. And she's looking very tired and frustrated, and she's waiting for her date. And first thing I'm thinking is, girl, if you don't leave, you're already started off on the wrong foot. Like, why are you late? Not even just that, the guy is not even serious with his life. A few minutes after, he texted her and he was like, yo, you know this place only accepts cash, right? I hope you are with cash. They go on this date, and of course the date is terrible. Like, it's awkward and dry. You know that date when you're just like counting time to when you have to run, or you have to text your friend and tell her to call you and pretend there's an emergency. He was given that, and this guy happened to be the embodiment of everything most girls don't want. And I was at some point, I had to ask my friend, like, come on now, is it because this is a movie? Like, why is one person all these things? Only you are racist, you are misogynist. He's also self-absorbed, he's boring, and he's wearing a t-shirt and a scarf indoors. I was expecting to just pop on a MAGA hat. You know, it was just the stereotype of all these terrible things. He was giving nice guy, he was giving incel. Yeah, the gifts that keeps on giving. To top it off, this guy goes, back in the days of our mothers, you know, women were more feminine, they dressed better. Like, these days, girls don't know how to dress. Date ends, it was extremely awkward. We know that there's not going to be a second time. They go outside and Noah tells him we're not a match, and he's like, good luck finding a guy, you stupid bitch. I was like, of course. The guy is obviously an incel. The last time he saw a pussy was the time he was pushed out of one. He's, you know, that the textbook incel type of guy who hasn't touched a girl hand since his mother crossed him across the street when he was a little boy. And then she goes home and continues to scroll through this dating app, and she sees this profile with a dog as the DP, and you know, profile picture checks out, you are a dog. The next thing, we see Noah going to the grocery store, and then there's just this ominous beat playing for some reason. It's so unsettling and creepy, and I'm like, can you people calm down? She's just looking at vegetables. But then again, the beat serves as some sort of foreshadowing, because this guy walks up to her. You know, that kind of pick-up line that is terrible but it's kind of charming, and everybody laughs and, you know, tries to pretend it never happened. He gets her number, and that's how they hit it off. I can't help but notice Noah's dressing. Noah, what's going on? Everything you're wearing is baggy. Even your socks is baggy. Is your underwear baggy? At some point, I'm thinking, like, what is going on here? This girl has the personality of white paper. And then she says this.
Oh, a little missed.
Yeah,
Noah.
it's mystery.
She's just like me. While she's talking to her friend about this guy, she goes,
he's probably married.
good one, Molly. Good one, Molly. She finally goes on a date with this new mysterious guy. His name is Steve. When a date starts with a hug, you can always know it's going to be a good date.
Or can you?
So he tells her he's a doctor, he does reconstructive surgery, which she makes fun of in the first instance, but then he tells her it's not just always about fixing people's boobs and people's butts, like sometimes you actually help people.
Liar!
Seems like a cool guy, you know, conversation is going well. It gets intimate and he asks her about her family. Apparently Noah is basically all alone in the world. Her parents are dead and she doesn't have friends. The guy says, oh yeah, me too, I have no family, and they start doing trauma bonding. She's smitten with this guy, like we can see it. He says he has no social media and I'm like, she ends up bringing this guy home on the first date and they're making out aggressively, you know, movie styles, like this discarding clothes and everything and pushing each other against the wall, like that stupid mistake that she has made. Like, who brings a guy they just met to their house? You know, but then again, we all make bad decisions every now and then. The guy breaks off the case and he's like, we need to slow down. She kind of looks flustered. He's like, oh, do you want anything to drink, anything to eat? And he's like, just you.
Why nobody called the cops?
You tried it. 911. I think it's a case of attempted homicide. They end up
going to church.
And while they're doing it, like, there is this kind of really ominous music playing. It's so unsettling. She's under him and she's all open and vulnerable, and the guy just looms above her and his face is basically in the shadow, and kind of like a metaphor of later events. The next day she wakes up and she sees him sleeping and she takes a pic of him. And this is one of the first movies that will acknowledge morning breath. Not like all those clowns that will wake up and they'll start kissing each other with their morning breath. My friend, will you go and brush or drink orange juice? What's that? She calls her friends the next day and Molly's at work when she calls her. I don't know what Noah does for a living. She's waking up from the coitus glow and she's calling her friend and telling her, and her friend is like, get that D! You know, Noah lives in a fairly decent apartment. I don't have any idea what she does for a living. She doesn't even look like she was trying to go to work or do anything that day. She was just talking about, I just had the best sex of my life. And the friend is the one asking the logical question. I mean, we all need friends like that. While our heads is in the cloud, we need someone to pull us back to the ground. The friend expresses concern and Noah is all like, oh, stop raining on my parade. Like, girl, we see another scene of this guy asking her, have you told anyone about me? She's like, oh, just one person, just my best friend Molly. My dear, I will tell you, I've told my entire village about you. Don't get too comfortable, sir. They know your full government name. I've sent them your passport and your thumbprint. And he comes and he's like, hey, let's go away somewhere together. You see why I like watching horror movies and thriller movies? I don't want to cut off guys. Which one is let's go away somewhere? She's like, where? And it's like, it's a surprise. Who are you to surprise me? I don't even know your last name. What do you mean? And they're driving and she's like, oh, there's no service. And he's like, oh yeah, let me get to my place. Like, I have Wi-Fi or whatever. The service is much better. And she's like, okay. When the guy finally tells her they're going to this place called Cottage Grove, and she texts Molly and she's like, oh, this is where we're going to. And then we get to this mansion in the woods. It's huge. The mansion is very quiet and there is this big artwork on the wall that she's trying to touch, and he's like, here, come have a drink. His mood has kind of changed. He's more quiet, more withdrawn. The last thing that he says before she passes out, because yes, he drugged her, was, come closer, Noah, you're so far away. And Noah just slumps on the ground. And that's when the movie starts. Now let's now go back and start listing all the red flags that this man had, okay? Ladies, do not, and I repeat, do not tell a man, especially one that you do not know, that you are all alone in the world, that you don't have a support system. You went ahead and told him you don't have family. The next thing you're telling him you don't have friends. You do not know this man. You are giving him the idea that you are all isolated from the world. Abusers love to isolate people. If you do have a support system, the first thing they do before they now sink their claws in is to isolate you from your loved one. Why in name are you telling a man you just met that you've got like only one friend? Save the pitiful story, bruv. Says he has no social media. And I'm like, I mean, it's one thing to not use your social media, but having no social media, what are you doing? No one wakes up to every woman's worst nightmare. She's literally tied up in someone's basement and the man is sitting in a far corner and staring at her. And she's like, oh, what's going on? Just becomes a whole new person. She's hyperventilating, she's panicking, and she tries to grab him. Noah is like, why do you have me here? And he says, and I remember, oh, he's a plastic surgeon or whatever, so organ harvesting, basically, that's what he's doing. At some point I was like, oh, that's why the movie is titled Fresh. It sells people's organs. If only. If only. Remember, she doesn't have much family. Her friend is the only one who knows. And then Molly on the other end, bless her heart, Molly starts investigating and things are not adding up. Noah stopped replying, and since this Steve guy is in possession of her phone, Steve starts to chat with Molly from Noah's phone. And I'm like, why don't this mother password protect their phones? Like, at least don't make this person's work easy. Noah is on the other hand trying to make her own escape plan and everything, and she convinces this man to take her out that she wants to take a shower. Of course, she tries to escape. Of course, he's expecting her to do that, and he knocks the daylight out of her. So now she wakes up and she's in an operating room. There's bright lights, she's on an operating table, and she can't move because she's been pumped full with epidural or whatever those pain medications are called. And he tells her, oh, I'm taking your ass. He meant that literally.
And
God, now let's pray. Ladies, come close. Let's pray. Hold my hand. Come on. Come here. Let's pray. Whatever will make you meet somebody in this life or the next that will make them carry a knife and cut off your bum, your ass, your dairy, your junk. That day, break your ankle instead. Be homesick. Go and learn how to drive. Let's stay at home and be practicing knitting, watching YouTube videos, be spending time with your grandmother. Whatever will make you meet that kind of person. Oh, no. You start thinking, what could I have done to prevent me from meeting this person? Should I not have gone to the grocery store that day? Should I not have given him my number? Should I have found his pickup line extremely whack to the point when even when he asked me for my number, I would have said, no, get the fuck away, you're lame. What could I have done wrong that would have caused this change in my stars? What could I have done differently? But you know, it's real life. Things are happening. You can't go back to change it. You can only change the future with your present. Molly, on the other hand, she's been suspicious, you know. So when she gets this kind of vibe that she's not talking to Noah, she immediately starts to feel uneasy. Something fishy is going on. So now I remember the bartender guy from the first date. Did I mention this bartender guy? When they showed him, I was like, oh, that guy is too fine. Like, why doesn't he have lines? Why is he in the cast? But it turns out he's in the cast. So the bartender guy is apparently, Molly has hooked up with him in the past. So Molly goes to meet him for help, and she tells him that she thinks that her friend has been kidnapped and she's not the one talking. And the bartender is like, so why don't you go to the police? Seriously, Molly, why don't you go to the police? And she's like, yes, Molly, yes, precisely. Of course they won't take you seriously at first, but at least let it be in the records in case something will happen to you, because I know your stupid ass is about to go poking around. Now Noah's end, Noah learns that she's not alone in this place. There are other girls that have been trapped. She can hear their voices, and she gets talking with one of them. Her name is Penny. Penny tells her, oh, I feel like I'm being eaten alive. And there's another girl there, Melissa. Melissa has basically lost her mind. She just keeps laughing and singing or doing stuff like that. And Noah is scared out of her mind. You see Molly, on the other hand, Molly has managed to use the puppy dog face to convince the bartender to give her the details that this man, you know, because he paid for the drink with his card. So Molly has convinced him, even though what he's doing is unethical. If he gets caught, he'll get fired, definitely. But Molly has convinced him to help her that Frank's life might be in danger. So she finally gets the details of the man's card, and with that she's able to trace him to his address and everything. And she sees that this man is literally, he's married. It wasn't just a haha funny joke, is he married? This man is married with kids. He's got a whole family. He's out there kidnapping girls and doing weird shit to them.
Stop it. Get some help.
You see Noah reading this magazine called 10 Ways to Make Him All Yours. Then Steve comes in and he's, God, this man chews so disgustingly. Like, why am I hearing what is in your mouth moving around with your saliva? Like, is there a microphone in your throat? Is there some loudspeaker? Like, the camera is panning close to his mouth. I guess that's the theme of the movie. People chewing weird. After the surgery, Noah is she's unable to walk properly because, you know, they just cut off her butt. So she's just stumbling around the place. As he's about to leave after coming into her room, he's like, try to relax, okay? Fear and stress isn't good for the meat. Oh my God. Sees a note from the last person that stayed in the room, and this note says, if you're reading this, he likes you. Use this to your advantage. I'm sending you strength. So Noah sees that, oh, another girl has been in my position before. Is this really funny scene? Or I wouldn't say it's really like haha funny, it's more like haha weird. But Noah is talking to the other girl in the other room. She says, oh, I can't believe I slept with him. And Penny was like, what? You slept with him? Penny's like, oh, I'm not judging you, I'm not slut-shaming you, I'm just like, it's kind of a compliment. Penny, shut the fuck up. Anyways, while she's in that room, she asks Steve why he slept with her, and Steve is like, oh yeah, because I like you, you know, I told you, no, I like you. In anything you do in life, this type of people, you don't want to cross paths with them. You don't want them to like you, you don't want them to hate you, you don't want them to notice you, because honey, there is no difference. Whether they like you or they hate you, you are going to get the same treatment, period. Remember, there might be a few perks, but baby, you just don't, you're better off not meeting this type of people. I mean, there's a 1 in a billion chance that you meet like a cannibal that cuts off people and sells them to the richest people that are occupying the top of the food chain in the world. But like, if you meet this type of people in your life, you have to admit you are really, really unlucky, right? Because it's not every day you meet this type of people. But to bring it to a much more average scale, like when you talk about incels and men that would harm women just because they probably got their ego bruised or something, like, you don't want to meet them at all. These people, you don't want them to like you or hate you. Like, just hope and pray that you never meet them. And even if you do that, you just are able to navigate the situation in a way that you leave unscathed. Okay, anyways, as the time goes, Noah starts to become more polite and cheerful with this man. They're making conversation. Then she asks him what he tastes like, and you can just see it in this man's eyes. Like, I don't know if he has been waiting for someone to ask him that question like all his life. He seems like a little boy that just wants to share his toy to the class. He's like, it's nothing like you've ever tried before. Yeah, no shit, Steve, no shit. Now Molly has the bright idea to go to Steve's house, inside Steve's home, and she's talking to Steve's wife. Someone brings out water and she's drinking. You don't know these people. Can you people stop drinking in people's houses, please? Someone is bringing you open drink. I don't care if it's water, don't drink it. Just, if you want to, put your lips to the cup and drop it down. Anyways, she shows the woman the picture, and the woman is like, I can't even see the face, you know, I don't think that's my husband. I'm sorry, you can't find your friend. And then there's this sound and she's like, oh, that's my husband, you should leave now. And Molly is like insistent, she wants to see this man. And the man comes in and she's like, hey, are you Steve? And he's like, no, Brendan. Steve is not even his real name. He's married and Steve is not even his real name. Anyways, Brendan is like, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry though, I hope you'll find your friend. Everybody is so nice and polite and they're just kind of ushering her out. And again, Molly has the bright idea to bring out her phone and call Noah's number while she's in that house. And I think to myself, Molly, you are a fool. Okay, let's say the phone now rings. Right? You now find out that he actually knows about Noah's whereabouts. You are in their house. You are at this man's mercy. You are in this giant house. You don't know these people. What happens then? Well, she'll find out because the phone does ring and the man looks at her and he goes, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And the wife sneaks up from behind her and boom! She knocks her out. Now, let's pray again. Anything that will allow us to have friends that will put us in trouble like this. At this point, if I ever escape this thing, we're not gonna be friends. That's just that. Period. It goes without saying, but Molly is left with this burden to have to find out where you are, because Molly knows that you have nobody else. If she doesn't do anything about your whereabouts, nobody else is going to be checking for you. There's this scene, I don't even know if I can show it. He goes to his freezer and he brings out a whole human thigh. We see the laps, the leg of somebody, and he cuts bits out of it and he's cooking it. I said, Chineke, blow the trumpet already so that we can all go home. This world is... At one point he's eating this meat and there is a tattoo on it and I'm like, oh my God. Oh, and it's only women's meat he sells. He sells this meat to like the wealthiest men you can think of. This is a fetish to these people. He sells it with bits of their hair, like bits of their underwear, jewelry or something that they've had on. Like, it's not just about eating to these people. It's power play. These men are so rich, they have no idea what to do with money. My friend was telling me while we were watching this, Shalom was telling me like there's this billionaire, I don't know who it was, the daughter of this billionaire went to buy a white tiger and just kept it, just for keeps. You can't go near this tiger, you can't pet this tiger. Like, we are so rich to a point, like you have no idea what to do with money. These are the kind of things that just occur to you. Do you get? Like, that's why you see one pop star will just make a lot of money and the next thing you're buying an alligator and putting it in high heels for no reason. These people are at the top of the food chain. They pull the strings in things that affect the rest of humanity. They have so much power, so much money at their disposal that they will do anything to widen the gap between them and the rest of humankind. They're not just eating human meat because they have a taste for it. They're eating human meat because they know that this is something that not a lot of people have access to. Not that we want to, but it gives them this sense of this is exclusive, this is for just me. And he says it at one point. It's a power play, like, oh, I'm doing something that is so outlandish, something that is so sick, so animalistic, and I'm paying good money for it. It's giving the emperor has no clothes. This man is so convinced he has the most magical, the most beautiful clothes in the world and is prancing about, but ordinary people are looking at him like, sir, you're crazy, you are naked. But no one can say it. If you can convince them that literal dump human feces is something that is worth billions of naira, they are going to buy it. There is this montage of just greedy fat men just eating what is supposedly human flesh. Because of this question that Noah has asked him, apparently that question kind of made him feel something. He's curious and he's like, why did you ask me that? He asks her that. And he's like, oh, you can have dinner with me tonight and you'll find out. These kind of people, as much as they know that what they're doing is sick and weird, they also want that approval, especially from someone that they like. And this man does like her. So that's why he invites her to dinner and he feeds her human flesh. And as she's sitting at this table, she asks,
Is it me?
You know, just normal, regular, polite, pleasant dinner conversation. Just normal stuff. They don't sell men meat, by the way, it's just women meat. Women are suffered in this life because they're probably like, oh, I can't eat another man's meat. Yeah, definitely fueled by homophobia. Anyways, we started to trust her after this dinner. The dinner is somewhat pleasant. Then after the dinner, Noah is retching. By the way, Molly is already in the house. After the dinner, he brings Molly in. And then we see Molly on the operating table and he cuts off bits of her. Apparently, the men knowing that these girls that they are eating are alive somewhere costs more money. Just the meal, one stupid small plate of what looks like pasta and human flesh. Can't believe I just said that. He said that meal cost about $30,000. But if the girl that they were eating was still alive, it would cost way more than that. And apparently this girl's name was Hope, and he makes a joke like, we're eating Hope. But shut the fuck up. So we see that he's feeling like they're connecting or something. So the next day he shows up and he buys her this dress. The moment I saw that dress, I said, sir, what is this atrocity? He's acting nervous and jittery in this date, and it just like makes me realize like this is his first date with Noah for him, because he's not acting, his guards are down, he's wondering will she like me, he's putting on cologne, he's dressing. This is the first date that they're having where he's not acting with her. She knows him, or he feels like she knows him and she sees him and she's starting to understand him. You see this scene of his wife where after the Molly incident, she looks like she's kind of fighting to quiet down her conscience, and then the man walks in and she's like, when the wife is going into the bathroom, we see that the wife is an amputee. She has a missing leg. So from what I concluded from that, this woman was once his victim, probably fell in love with her along the way and then married her. She's this perfect, slim, blonde woman, Barbie doll kind of appearance. That's who he keeps in his house while he goes on to hunt down other women. So now Noah is the new girl he's fascinated by. I can really see Noah is trying to get this man to like her, which is so painful to watch because for one, I'm so grossed out, I'm creeped out, like I hate this man with every fiber of my being, and I can imagine what it's like trying to get, even if it's just an act, it's like so painful to execute because I'm just thinking, God, I wish I could smash a flower vase over his head. But Noah is going out of her way to make him like her. You can see that he's starting to let his guards down because he forgets to cuff her. He usually keeps her handcuffed. He's trying to romanticize being a cannibal. Like they're eating, he brings out another part of the meat. Apparently that's someone's boob. So Noah is like, oh, I have a joke. I can't say it. It's bad. I can't say it. And the man is like, oh, say it. So he feels so, oh my God, this is my wildest dream come true. I don't think his wife eats human flesh. I mean, she knows what he does and everything. I mean, she was once his victim, but I don't think he connects with her the way he's connecting with Noah. At some point, he must have loved her and adored her, but Noah is the new fascination now.
You saved the best till last.
After the old laughter dies off, she starts to cry and she's like, I just feel awful. That I don't feel awful. This is when me and Miriam had this kind of disagreement on what that statement meant. So she's telling this man that she feels awful, that she doesn't feel awful, that she's, eating a human being because this. And Miriam is like, oh yeah, that's just a glimpse into how the human mind can be. Like, yes, she's acting, but I don't think this part of her admitting this. I think this is a true admittance of her guilt at not feeling bad that she's eating human meat. And that was Miriam's argument. Miriam says she thinks that this part was her being truthful. But I disagreed, and I don't think Noah was actually enjoying this human meat, because there's one thing to be eating something and someone says, oh, do you know what this meat that you're eating and enjoying so much is like snake meat. It's one thing to not know before eating, but going in there with your two eyes open, you are still traumatized. I mean, it's just cut off your butt. So it's another thing to now sit there knowing fully well that you're about to eat human flesh and enjoying it. I don't think you eat Melissa while you just spoke to Melissa and be like, oh, I really enjoy how this tastes. Her body language is showing that she doesn't really want to eat it, but she has to do it to kind of prove to this man that she doesn't think he's a freak. But like for the first bite, when Noah had that, I was like, Noah, that bite is too big. Auntie, you are eating something for the first time, even if it's not human flesh, cut it into 3 parts, then you take 1/3 of it. Why is it so big? Which I guess she was trying to convince him, but that was such a big bite. I just know at this point that he feels like all his dreams are coming through, like, wow, she's into what I'm into, we can both like live happily ever after. Meanwhile, this man's wife has been trying to get in touch with him. He locked his phone inside one box like that. He said, no, I'm on a date. He did not answer this woman's call while he was on a date with Noah. So she's trying to reach him and he's not picking up. And then he shows her this shrine where he keeps belongings of these other women that he has captured. They have like bits of their hair, their picture, things that they came in with, probably underwear, and their phones. These men buy these things of these women. As they're talking, Noah then sees Molly's phone, and that's how she knows that Molly is here. So this kind of hardened her resolve to get out. She's freaked out. She can't let it show. They kiss, their disgusting human meat kiss, like all the juices of Melissa is just floating around in those two idiots' mouth, and the man asks her to dance, and they start dancing. The mood is getting all soft and sensual, and he decides to take you to the bedroom. At this point, I feel so haggard and tired watching this movie. I'm just sitting there like, God. At this time, she's on top. She's dominating this one. She slips into the bathroom at some point to do what women do in the bathroom before they go and do things. And when she comes back, he just lies there and he thinks he's about to get the best of his life. He doesn't. She's kissing her way down, and then the fangs come out. Boom! That was the best part of this movie. At some point, I'm like, oh my God, that is so horrible. Oh my God, I love this. Me and my friends, when this happened, we just paused the screen. I was like, Noah, give me some of that blood. Let me rub it on my skin to moisturize my skin. The blood of a madman. I'll rub it on. I'll rub it everywhere. I'll dance on your grave. At this point, you have beaten off his cap. He's in the most vulnerable he can ever be. His ego is bruised. You just beat off his most sensitive part. Do not let him be able to come after you. Pick up something and smash his skull in. But it's a movie. She just locks him in there and runs out so that he'll be able to come after her. Me, I'm not the one to kick a man if he's already down. But in this case, I will kick you down. so that when I'm running, I don't have to look over my shoulders. And then I'm so pissed off, like you are crying, you are screaming that someone just beat you off, so you can feel pain, but you think it's a good thing to tie up people and be cutting off bits of them. You cut them off until they're like probably just only torso is left, and then he kills them like he did to Melissa. We never saw Melissa. Who knows what state she was in when he killed her. Anyways, Noah runs out and she goes to free the other girls, and she sees Molly, and then she goes to free the other girl that she's been talking to, Penny. And then why do movies do this thing? Everybody's running, like the situation is tense, you have to escape, this mad guy's coming over, so you're like, oh my god, you came for me, and you're hugging. I will slap you. We're in a hurry. Who are you hugging? I will beat you up. You better stand up and run. Are you mad? Anyways, they all start running and the man comes after them. Of course he comes after them, but let me tell you, they gave this man a fight. The man beat the shit out of them, but come on, like, you people are three, there's just one of him. They gave him a fight. Like, this girl, she was kicking that man's ass, and she just got only one leg, like, and at one point he's strangling the shit out of Noah, but you know, Molly gets on the table and she just kicks his lights out, and I was like, yes, one for woman empowerment, yes. But the bartender guy that Molly had been shagging came. She sent him a location before she went missing. But let me tell you, like, he's the only person in this movie that has sense. That does what? That has sense. The girls are running, but the stupid guy comes after them with a gun and he's just shooting sporadically. And this man just hears one gunshot and he's like, nah, fuck this shit, I'm out. Because you know who don't stay around to find out who's shooting? Black folks. And this is a man who, but if you're one of those stupid girls, you want to go and find out who's shooting in the night in the woods. The moment the man even saw the house, it's like, damn, this place is so creepy. But you know what? You were sitting in the car while this man was driving into this creepy ass mansion, and you were like, it's so quiet here. Your house is intimidating. So we all learned that they cut off Molly's boobs while she was on the operating table that time. So the man had already performed some sort of mastectomy on Molly, you know. So Molly has got this pain that we notice in her chest area. Let's pray again that we will not miss the kind of friend that will let us sacrifice our boobs. Oh! At this point, this friendship is going to be very strained. I'm sorry. This friendship is going to be very strained. Like, it's hanging on very thin thread. Like, I'm this close to... Remember, the wife had been trying to call Steve or Brandon, whatever he goes by these days. I mean, she had been trying to get in touch with him, so she finally comes to the place that he does his weird shit. And that's when she sees all the blood and all the chaos that are shooting in the house, and they hear him shooting and yelling, and they decide to go out in the woods. So the girls, they jump on him and beat the shit out of him again while he's trying to shoot. Noah gets the gun and she's like, bitch, smile for me. Because that's one thing this mother always tells her, smile, just a little smile, Noah, you look better with a smile. And she tells him, smile for me, and he gives this kind of grotesque smile with all the blood smeared on his face, and then she pops him one, poof, right here. I'm like, good girl. Oh, these idiots, why are you still hanging around in this creepy place? You're not hugging each other, you're like, what's safe?
So you're the real fool. You're the real idiot.
Hey! Oh, look, first of all, these people don't know if there are other people around. Let's ignore the fact that I know that the wife came here with another man to come and see what's going on. They don't know this, and they're not. The thing that you don't know is what you should fear, because they don't know if this man has a lot of other people waiting there. They are just assuming that they are alone in the woods and they are safe, and they are hugging. Are you mad? Are you mentally ill? So now they are trying to run away and everything with all their broken limbs and their missing parts. And Molly's phone has no signal. Noah's phone dropped in the woods while they are struggling, and she's like, oh yeah, I forgot, I left my phone behind, I have to go get it. I'm going back into the woods to bring your phone. My phone does not have signal. What is it? Is it just living in your phone? That your own phone will not have signal when my own doesn't have signal? She thinks she's the main character. I know you're the main character, but Jesus Christ, she acting like she knows she can't die. I will just beat you up at that point. I'm sorry. You want to go back to that place? At this point, we have a lot of adrenaline pumping in our body. I'm running all the way to Togo if I have to. I will run to Senegal on my bare foot. I won't stop until I see civilization. Do you want to order an Uber? What do you want to do? Call 911. Where are you? I'm in the middle of no fucking where. Keep running until you see civilization. The woman finds a dead husband's body and she tells the guard that came with her to carry the man and put him on ice. I guess he's going to end up being meat or something. I don't know what she plans to do. But so now Anna, the wife, sneaks up behind Noah. Noah sees her and she starts crying like, oh my god, I'm safe, you're safe, oh, we're so safe. And Noah's like, who the f are you, ma'am? Next thing we know, she starts to strangle Noah. Noah defends herself by stabbing this woman 3 times or so in the neck with a key. This doesn't die, and she's still trying to kill Noah until Molly comes up behind her and she bashes this woman's face in with a shovel. It's like, bitches like you are the problem. asking for help. I really like that part. Like, yes, go Molly. She was just so enraged and I love it. It's just like her really are the problem. They're just there hugging and sitting and that's how the movie ends. And I'm just wondering like, where is the third girl? There were 3 of you. So you people abandoned this one girl that doesn't even have a second leg. And people abandoned her somewhere. You're sitting now in the woods. Mind you, there's still another man somewhere. We don't even know who that man is or what his motives are or what. I mean, we do know he works for them, but we don't know if he's going to try to continue the legacy of his master or something. So they are still sitting in the wood talking about some, oh, we're safe, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why the people do this in movies. Like, can you just run until you get into another time zone? And then where's the third girl? You just abandon her. So much for sisterhood though. Anyways, that's the way the note ends on. And as this movie ends, I'm just like, things I just learned from it is like whirlwind romances, like when the romance just comes and it's like it is the love of your life after 2 days, like it's never usually a good sign. And again, try and make friends, let people always know your location. If you're going somewhere with a strange person, share your location, tell people where you're going. If I just post it randomly on your status, because see, the more isolated people know you are, the easier you make their job. They're not going to be looking over their shoulder while they're cutting up bits of you. They are knowing damn well that nobody's coming for them. Is there any other thing I miss? I have to look at my note to see if I don't miss a talking point.
Also, one talking point that I missed is that, see, people can be more pretentious in real life. People are more complex. The human mind is much more complicated. So sometimes you might miss all the red flags and you might not see this. I don't want to make it seem like, I was too judgy, because I realized that I was too judgy at some point. But yeah, stay safe out there, girls.
Tell me what you thought about this movie. If you haven't seen it, would you want to check it out? Or if he eats my ass, he's a bottom feeder. This man puts a new meaning to that term.